Stop telling people that you can't afford to eat real food. This potato dish costs less than $1 per person and it'll bring flavors out better than you can find at most fine dining restaurants. I promise you that. The American potato is a treasure. It's a culinary treasure. This is one of the ingredients that I always encourage people to eat, like instead of just empty carbs, because not only are they really good for you, but the American potato farmer is one of the greatest farmers in the world. These are these Melissa's kind of, baby gold medley potatoes. I love them. They're rich, they're buttery, they're over the top. I'm gonna show you a couple tricks for these potatoes and how to make the most rich and creamy and buttery potatoes. But this is more of a canvas and then you can kind of paint on top of it yourself. Be your own artist. I'll just teach you a couple tricks. Now, the thing about potatoes that people don't realize is that there is a little bit of protein in here. There's more potassium in a potato than there is in a banana. Bet you didn't know that. Heck, I didn't even know that. You got vitamin B6, fiber. That fiber is really important, especially when it comes to people who are eating more saturated fats. You want that fiber to kind of work with the fat. But most importantly, they're delicious. So the trick with potatoes is that everyone thinks there's a fine line between cooking the potato perfectly so that it's fork tender, as they like to say, and then having the potato fall apart. Well, what we're gonna do here is that we're gonna use a two-step cooking process. Step one, I'm just gonna slice all these potatoes in half, throw them into this cold water, then I'm gonna add my vinegar. So the other benefit of adding acid to the potatoes as you're cooking them isn't just the fact that they keep the potato intact, but it also does add a little bit of flavor. Potatoes are really rich and creamy and buttery, so you do want some of that acid to also cut through the richness of the potato. And in the cooking process, it kind of permeates the potato. I'm gonna use rice vinegar. Everybody knows this is my favorite. It's a more subtle acid, so it's not gonna be too astringent and in your face, and it'll kind of marinate and integrate with the potatoes well. A little dance, a relationship. Speaking of, there's my wife.
Not getting in the frame.
Oh,
Sorry.
come over, my little potato.
Absolutely not. I look like a potato.
Yeah, maybe that wasn't the most endearing. So I add like a couple tablespoons of the rice vinegar to half a gallon of water with, what is this, 1 pound of potatoes? Oh, 1 pound, 8 ounces. So I did 1 pound, 8 ounces of potato. Come on over here, get over here, my little French fry. Come on, got my skinny fry over here. We could do this all day. So the reason you start blanching is when you par cook something traditionally in water. The reason you blanch root vegetables in cold water is because you need it to come up to temperature because it's harder to penetrate the vegetable, it's denser. So you want that water to come up slowly so that it cooks the vegetable all the way through. If you just threw it in boiling water, the outside would cook or overcook and the inside wouldn't. But when you're cooking vegetables that grow above the ground, whether they're leafy vegetables, broccoli, etc., you do blanch those in boiling water. So that's kind of culinary school 101 for you right there. Nobody needs to pay $20,000 to go to culinary school. Just subscribe to American Gravy. All right, I'm gonna take these and put these on the stove and give them a little simmer. All right, so now what we're gonna do with the potatoes, by the way, I got one of my trusty sous chefs here with me. He's gonna be cooking alongside me. So what I want you to do, first let me describe to the viewers what we're gonna make. We're gonna make a, I don't know, kind of like a little pesto type citrus herb umami blend that we're gonna toss the potatoes in after they're pan-seared and roasted, and then we'll finish them with a little bit of butter. This is something that you can make and put on anything. Fish, chicken, vegetables, you name it. It's almost a little, it's a necessary condiment that you wanna keep in your fridge at all times. But for now, we're gonna use it for potatoes. So what I'm gonna do is, first I'm gonna take the zest of a lemon. By I mean my sous chef. Don't get the white in there, remember, just the exterior, because that white pith can be very, very bitter. Wait, nope, just kidding. Keep going. Okay, so we're gonna do the zest of 1 lemon. I'm gonna do about, I don't know, maybe a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, a little bit of smoked paprika. Smoked paprika and potatoes is one of the greatest flavor combinations in the world. It goes together better than lamb and tuna fish, better than anchovies and ice cream, the best. Now I love this umami blend, which is really just a mix of different types of dried mushrooms, thus the umami, and I think there's a little garlic powder in there. Yeah, thyme. Undertones of earth, whatever the heck that means. But I'm gonna put some of that in there, okay? We did actually create a recipe for our own umami blend, so if you wanna go back in time and pull that one up, you can do so. All right, let's get some freshly cracked sea salt in there. Now, capers, another one that is delicious with potato. And once again, I'm thinking about this blend as a general mix of flavor that we can use on anything. So I'm keeping it pretty generic. One more swipe and you're good to go. Now cut the lemon and add the juice in there as well. There you go, look at that. He's got his fingers curled. He's the pro here. He's been cooking since he was a wee little tyke, since he was in my belly. What kind of a world is this? You can go ahead and squeeze that lemon right in there, big guy. Squeeze it over this, right? I like to do this because then if it catches, first it runs whatever was left on your microplane into the actual sauce so you don't lose that flavor. And then if a seed does hit the inside, it gets caught in there. Work those forearms. You're gonna need that for baseball season, right? William is a baseball player. He's on his way to the MLB. Isn't that right? I don't know what it is with kids and like all the baseball gear these days. When I was a kid, I had like one $5 bat that I used for 6 different seasons. These kids nowadays, they're spending like $900 on baseball bats. What's that called? The Hypefire bat? Hypefire bat, you gotta take out, like you'd go on payment plans for 3 years. It's more expensive than like a small Nissan, but he doesn't have a Hypefire. We still make him use the, I didn't buy it for you. Were you hustling kids over at the playground? Oh, I did buy it for him, just one. It was like 4 seasons ago. Actually, you go to Play It Against Sports, you get a used one. Much better way to, oh, he doesn't know it was used, never mind. Yeah, that was a good one. So what else you wanna put in there, big guy? What else do you think we should put in there? How about some fresh thyme? Just kind of pick some of the leaves off. Yeah, get some chives in there. Now you could add olives to this if you want. This is almost like a gremolata, which is a classic topping that they put on like ossobuco or fish. You get the citrusy, salty, somewhat sweet finish on there. You could throw some Dijon mustard in here. I'm gonna keep it pretty generic. We'll just finish it off with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. Actually, I might even finish it with avocado oil just to keep the flavor neutral. Nonetheless, it's gonna be delicious. One of my other favorite ingredients is the nutritional yeast. We will finish the potatoes with the nutritional yeast. This is delicious. Not only is it delicious, it's really good for you. So nutritional yeast has niacin in there. It's got the thiamine hydrochloride, whatever the hell that is. It's got riboflavin. It's got vitamin B1, B2, B6, B12, B14, 26, 32. It's hike. 6, 7. It's got vitamin B6, 7 in there. Most importantly, it's got a ton of flavor. It's all natural as well. So we're gonna add this to the potatoes at the end. It adds that rich, cheesy goodness, that earthy flavor without actually adding the cheese. We'll probably also add cheese, but this is a different cheese-like flavor. Actually, you know what? We'll just chop this, big guy. Why don't you go ahead and chop it? Whatever you want, go crazy. I'll give it one more. I'll give it one more through, right? Rough chop, rough chop. All right, and then grab a spoon and start mixing it up. Little bit of avocado oil in there just to pull it together. We'll set this aside, and then when our potatoes are finished, we're gonna strain them, sear them, and then we'll toss it all up together. So the way that you can tell that your potatoes are done, the cliche, fork tender. So you stick a fork in them, if it goes in without any resistance, it's done. You're done, you're forked. What the fork? So I'm gonna take these potatoes now, they're finished. I'm gonna strain them really quickly, okay? Put them right on top of the pot, because I do want them to dry, right? So they're just kind of straining into the pot here. I'll put these over to the side, and then I'm gonna get a cast iron pan blazing hot. I'm gonna hit this with a little bit of avocado oil. We're gonna finish it with butter, but I want the avocado oil, or ghee, you could use ghee. We're gonna finish it with butter, but I want the avocado oil right now because it has a higher smoke point than whole butter. Whole butter has the milk solids and the moisture in there, so its smoke point's gonna be about 300, 325 degrees. With an avocado oil, you're gonna get 375, 400. You can also use ghee, which is clarified butter. That's gonna give you a much higher smoke point. We want the oil to be hot enough that it shimmers. You can see it kind of run like water, but not so hot that it's smoking. I'm just gonna try and get them in one layer on the pan. Okay, we're gonna salt it. Do a quick little toss. Now just let them sit, because we wanna brown these potatoes. There's not a specific time that you're gonna cook these right now. The goal is to just get them golden brown on the exterior on both sides, or as many parts of the potato as you can. So we're just letting them sear on one side right now. It's gonna be about 2 or 3 minutes at high heat. You can give it a little flip. You can use tongs if you're not good at flipping, whatever you want. And then from there, we're gonna cook them on the other side. So probably 6 to 7 minutes total till golden brown and delicious. And then we're gonna finish them over on the cutting board. Got some nice browning on these potatoes. I'm going to drizzle this with our gremolata mix, right? Our potato pesto, we'll call it that. This is flavor country, okay? I can't even express to you how delicious this is. But what I'm also gonna do to have this kind of stick to the potatoes is I'm gonna mount it with whole butter as well. We're gonna melt the butter in there with all those herbs, and look at how it just creates that beautiful glaze on the exterior of the potato. You can do this with a spoon if you don't feel comfortable tossing it like that. But now look at that. You got the capers on there, and you can even finish a little bit more at the end too. The aromatics on this is unbelievable. You got the smokiness of the paprika, the butter that's toasting, the hot milk solids, the capers and all the fresh herbs we put in there, plus the citrus and the citrus zest. So if I was gonna be serving this right now, I would just do a nice bowl. I'll drizzle it at the end with just a little bit more of this potato pesto. Just to take it over the top, I gotta do this. We gotta go with some Parmesan Reggiano.